Well, here we are watching your grain trade ahead of the Chinese trade deal signing tomorrow. And boy, this corn market just couldn't be much duller, to be real honest with you. Let's take a look at what the corn is doing right now. On the March corn, we are just fractionally weaker. We're at 388 3/4. Hasn't been moving much at all today. I think the highest we have shown this morning was about 1/4 cent higher, and then I think a half an hour ago it was down about a penny, but that's about the extent of the range here. 388 3/4 is where we now are trading. We have to keep in mind the fact that USDA, when they came out with that WASDE report last Friday, they did have that comment that they're going to resurvey those northern fields coming up sometime by spring. Early spring, they say, and we'll get some more information on the corn production by then. Now, if you look at our soybean trade here today, a lot of optimism about the potential for soybean business here with China moving down the road. But it just seems like the trade is eager to see some proof. They want to see some real proof. Now, we did have some overnight sales announced of soybean sales. It was 120,000 tons to unknown destinations. Last night, the intriguing thing that we mentioned earlier was the fact that it was booked for next marketing year, not this year, but out a year. So that's interesting. That was 2 shiploads worth 120,000 tons. So the soybeans are higher right now. Let's go back to that soybean board, and we are showing the nearby March contract about 2 1/4 higher at 944.5. Remember, January goes off the board today. The May contract is 2 1/4 higher at 957 3/4. We were higher than this earlier, but we backed off a bit. On the wheat market in Chicago, we have the March contract now 8 1/4 higher at 570.5. It had been even stronger than that, but still very strong. Kansas City on the March contract, it's now showing a last trade of 497 1/4. That's up 4.5 cents. Almost all the contracts otherwise are above $5 right now. Minneapolis wheat on that March contract, it's trading a 1.25 higher at 556 3/4 today. Let's go to the phone and welcome Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. He's in Springfield, Missouri. So kind of a lackadaisical trade, if you will, in the grain markets today. It's like they want to see what the details are in this big trade agreement that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, good morning, Marlon. I think everybody wants to see what those trade details are going to be. And we hope to have an idea after the signing ceremony tomorrow. They are expected to release some information following that, the signing ceremony, and hopefully we'll get an idea. But I think even more importantly than knowing what the agreement entails is enforcing of that agreement. I know nobody trusts China very far. We hope that they will abide by the trade agreement and it will be a boon for American agriculture. But again, it's going to be difficult to enforce such a trade agreement. The timing of purchases that China will make will be interesting. We saw this morning a sale to an unknown destination for the new crop marketing year that may end up being China. In fact, around this signing ceremony, I would certainly expect to hear some private export sale announcements from China, as kind of a show that they're going to be purchasing U.S. ag products. I think there'll be quite a few export sale announcements, but just when will they take shipment is really going to be the tale here. Last year they had booked quite a few soybeans, but they didn't take shipment of those until the last couple weeks of the marketing year, and we may see something like that develop once again this year.
All right, we'll come back in a moment, and we will analyze our livestock trade on a Tuesday. We're talking with Brian Hoops, and we'll be back right after this. Brian Hoops is our guest as we turn our focus now to our livestock trade on Tuesday. And let's look at our live cattle trade, shall we? At the CME Group trading floor in Chicago, we are still mixed. We have the nearbys a little firmer. February live cattle 42 higher. We're at 126.97. The deferreds are a little weaker if you go into the late summer months, 5 to 10 cents lower. On the feeder cattle market right now, we currently have the January contract 50 lower at 145.53, while the March is down 30 at 145.55. So this has been a very choppy market here. On the lean hogs, they had quite a run early this morning, and look at them go. We have February up $1.97 now at 67.88. April up $1.60 at 74.97. Brian, my question to you is this all of a sudden a run to the hog market thinking that, the signing is tomorrow, we better hurry and buy before they do?
That could be the case. This hog market kind of thinly traded today, and certainly reacting, I think, to tomorrow's signing, expecting that we'll see some stronger export numbers, but that remains to be seen. But again, it's fairly thinly traded. A lot of short covering going into that report, as we've been down last several trading sessions in the hog market. In the cattle country, it's fairly quiet yet. We're hearing a little bit of asking prices. 205 dressed, 126, 127 live, but Packers have shown no interest so far yet this week.
How close did we get to contract lows in that hog market?
Yeah, you look at the February hog charts, we'd have to go all the way back to the lows that were charted back in August, 63, 67. So, we're a couple dollars away from that. Now, of course, we're rallying today. We're coming off of the lows here, but there was some weekly chart support that the market had fallen towards yesterday and seems to be bouncing off of that today in fairly aggressive short covering.
All right. Well, Brian, thank you for the update today on the markets. Appreciate it very much. Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. He's based in Springfield, Missouri. And Christina, I asked him about the cash cattle trade. Everything quiet today.
Interesting. But
Early
hogs taken off for today.
Yeah, all of a sudden. Gee, I wonder why.
Okay, we'll see where we go from here. Appreciate that, Marlon.